Hello, hello, hello. Hey everybody, how y'all doing? Good morning, good evening, good afternoon to you. Wherever you are, whatever time it is when you listen to this, welcome to my channel. Alright, y'all, so ultimately, right? The biggest thing that was coming to me was like, damn, it's the shadow period. Well, it's not the official quote unquote, textbook shadow period, but for vibrational, right? Aspect, it's the shadow period for Mercury retrograde, right? And I was like, damn, these motherfuckers is pulling up people from 28 years ago. God damn. Yeah, yeah, it reeked of desperation with the situation. Right? Yeah. And the irony that comes into place with it is, uh, for me, right? Because I've been out and about for the most part today. And I woke up, but I had to take a nap. Because y'all know how it is when it gets too hot. It's so hot. God, it's so hot today. Like, period. It's hot outside. I'm not, you can tell I'm not a summer person. If I go outside during the summer, that means I love you. For real. For whatever it is, whatever reason. My kids and those people who truly know me understand that too. Mm. Which is part of the reason why I took so many different things personally, y'all. For real. And somebody has stated that some of it was about a temperature check. Things would have been in regards to an old temperature check it is that I did. I'm pretty sure it was. And the irony that came into place with it was that I had that name, I kept hearing it. I hadn't seen it anywhere, but I kept hearing it. And then when I found out who it was that it had belonged to, it was like, oh, I don't feel comfortable with calling this no more. So, in any event, I digress. So there's that. The other thing is, right? Um, right now I'm trying to relax for real. It's hot outside. Oh, it's hot. It's hot. It's hot. And I walked around a lot, and I got to make sure. Like during the summertime, I'm one of the people who got to take a shower like two, 3 times a day. So serious, just to keep my body temperature regulated. So there's that. The other thing that was coming to me, yeah, the different modeling work and all this, yeah, all those different things it is uh that I've come across over the course of my journey. I was paying that some attention, and over these past couple days, just been waiting and watching to see how things uh manifest. I seen a lot of the elders, right? Yeah, the elders and not only the elders, but what it is and what it looked like when you don't lose your spunk, basically. Some of it is about whether or not you lose your spunk or your gusto as you get older, and in others situations, it is gonna be about that cattiness and rudeness that comes into place when you're dealing with people amongst different age groups and stuff. So yeah, that's part of what it is that will go on. The other thing is though, right before I kick into this reading, so I when I went for a walk, well, when not went for a walk, I went to go get my headphones today. Whole time I'm walking, I was like, I should have took some video of this shit, but yeah, cause the whole time I'm walking to get to the store so I can go grab me some headphones. Now a soul was in sight. It was like one person that I seen, and then after, yeah, and that was going in the opposite direction. But along the path it was that I took, it was not one person. And then after I got to the store, paid for my headphones, and came back outside, it was like it was, yeah. Then it was like it was people had been coming out like as if they had been walking for a while. I was like, you motherfuckers ain't been walking this damn long. Quit playing with me. I was like, I should have took a picture of this shit. I should have. I really should have. I should have took a picture of it, but I was able to do everything it was I needed to this morning. Have as far as like dreams and things of that nature. Haven't really had a whole bunch of those that are more up to date. I will say a lot of the dreams and visions it is that I've had over the years, they kind of coming into fruition now. So I don't know what that's gonna be about or be in regards to. Some of it was in regards to me. Others it was in regards to other people, right? And how things will be going on and coming into place. But yeah, y'all make sure y'all stay hydrated. Stay hydrated, ladies and gentlemen. I keep hearing that song. Yeah, don't make me big, baby. It's like that song. Wake up with that one. Don't necessarily go to sleep with it, but wake up. All right. So, in any event, though, one of the other aspects, right, that came into place, yeah, because basically what it was giving is with them one walking along their path and having to confront, right? Because after you confront what's in, say, for instance, your shadow body is what it's giving, your shadow self and uh, things that were in the past, you got to remember what you learned from everything that happened in the past, right? Yeah, because I was just in the park waiting for my daughter to show up, primarily because, uh, and I knew she wasn't gonna be there because I knew it was something wrong, is what I should say, because she wasn't there at the time that she usually is around, so I knew it was a hiccup of some sort that come into place. I ain't had no problem with it because I got there early enough to, just relax. I had been walking I did it all by myself. I think I walked about a mile and a half, and I think I walked about a mile and a half today, which is me kind of is actually a little off for me because I usually do about 2 to 5 miles in a day. I make sure I get them 10,000 steps in, so to speak, y'all. The song that kept coming up, right? Yeah, now I'm not saying that. Well, pause. That's not true, because over the course of this 6 months, it could equal about 500 miles, right? If you ever heard that song, and I would walk 500 miles. I would walk 500 more just to be the man who walked 1,000 miles to get back to your door. Da 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 da. Right now, the irony that came into place with that, it was a story a while ago, right? And in this story, I don't know, I think it was something that went viral a while ago where the guy he had did that. He walked the 500 miles because he was in love with this woman. And I think it's even a part of the story though, the storyline for the song. And when he got to the woman, she didn't like him the way he was after the 1,000 mile walk, primarily because she liked him the way he was beforehand. And he was doing it for health reasons and all this other stuff. So there's that part. In short, yeah, you can have, if you speak on the encouragement, or if you speak on what you want before it happens, you can get additional encouragement and have somebody there with you as you're going through the transitions. Basically, is what that was given. Is what that's given for right now. Yeah. So because not everybody likes to be shocked like that, so to speak. Leave one way, come back another. It'll mess with some people's head. You feel me? So it said. So got the Murder of Crows out. First card out, Queen of Swords reverse, right? Negativity, some of the things it is that wouldn't have been direct, wouldn't be direct. Also, this is given uh one of the things, yeah, what it is to lay down, right? And be a Queen of Swords and laying down. That's one. And what it is to be negative. And Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, Moon. For the sake of this read, no, I'm not gonna really read signs for real. I'ma try not to. I'm gonna try not to. We just gonna speak to the situations that will be going on in the contract. Well, what happens when one is indirect and the doing of love and feeling love and the indirectness of being nurtured in the spirit. And there being this rejection, the spiritual rejection. How one would reject the spirit and it would prevent the person to be active. And then there being this contract that wouldn't be recognized. Contract, Capricorn. Uh, Actually, really what is given is how a structure wouldn't have been recognized. A structure or a contract wouldn't have been recognized. And that's given how something wouldn't have been honored. All right, now an overall aspect of what it is that comes into place with waiting. How one waits. How one waits in 3 weeks. What I'll say is be careful with playing them games, playing mind games. And if you would have played mind games in the past and how they can mess you up in the present and the future, and how it will be about the sexual, some of it's going to be about the contractual sexual agreements, and the other portion is going to be in regards to the truth of one not being a lover and them coming in with an offer and not having a passionate new beginning. What is given is within the waiting aspect, how because a person wouldn't have honored the contract, it'd be the truth, you wouldn't honor a contract in a day and not recognizing what day it is. Now, in the alchemical aspect, it'll be about the directives of one acting on their actions within recognizing a lover and their passion and new beginning. A lot of this is going to be in regards to what happens in the spiritual world, how and spirit and contractual agreements, right? Yeah, and these varying aspects with the feminine aspect. Yeah, it's not going to be about the whole divine masculine, divine feminine aspect. It's going to be about uh, what it is that one would feel and how one would feel rejected in their ambitions. Be careful who it is you boost up and, or no, it's showing realistically who and what would have been boosted up in the past or really paid attention to in the past and what was nurtured indirectly. Some of this is going to be about the month of April. Some of it's going to be in regards to what it is, yeah, how one wouldn't have been recognized in the ambitions wouldn't have been recognized in April. Could even be talking about a person. One of the other things it is that I'm noticing that's coming into place with this is what what it is that a person would have put energy, effort into, and remembered, and not correlated with Capricorn essence and what it is to walk an offer. Yeah, Opposed to whole wipe me down is giving the walk me down or walk them down. Okay, let's see. Some of the other stuff it is that this gonna be talking about is not necessarily. Some of it could be, or not. Some of it could be what it is to be a female lawyer, or the anesthetician. Okay, and what it is to be an ex pilot, a veteran pilot, and the shift from being in like the Air Force to the Navy, and then one not being what is given is how one wouldn't have been given their rank, their ambition, they wouldn't have been given their rank, and then what it is that would have gone on with the Army not loving the Army aspect, and where it is that a person would have been walking, so to speak, and with the whole walking like I talk it. Yeah, because if you doing like boot camp or training like that, yeah, boot camp, training, all those types of things, yeah, the whole walking like you talk it situation is a whole lot different. Because some people can walk it like they talk it while others don't do so well with it. Walk the walk and talk the talk. Alright, let's see. Okay. There you go. When it comes to the family room and what a family room means, realistically, or a communal place, a place where everybody can go to and meet up and to work. The family room work family is what that's given, and what it is to be a false person in the work family. Okay, I know I've had okay, and one not being in prison. So within the family, the work and one not being in prison and not being at the courthouse and not having a gift. Now the other portion of this is an alchemical portion. It's gonna be within the recognition of what it is to be locked in the courthouse and there be a gift. How one would have gotten to the courthouse is what that's gonna be about. And it not being a gift, but it being yeah, it not being a gift, but it being something that a person is entitled to. Not being a gift, being a curse, things of that nature. Yeah, with the false person, of course it'll be a curse for a false person. Now that's that part. The other portion is gonna be about being an actor or actress, what it is to wear a mask, and how a false person would have a message about a journey. In short, it wouldn't be the journey of high honor ending. Yeah, how it wouldn't be one person, it would be another. There's that portion. The other part of it is gonna be in regards to this whole ideal of what you would review and like whether it's the sexuality or the contractual agreement 6 months. Not I'm saying 6 months ago, but I'm hearing 6 weeks ago. Yeah, Moon Magic would have played a part in this. And when one steps out of Queen of Swords essence and steps into Queen of Cups essence, and with them one being nurturing, rejecting someone who would be inactive in a contract or in their ambitions. Yeah, it's like you saying you want to do something, but you're not doing nothing about it. And what that would mean with you not doing nothing about it. Her go ahead and say what you have to. Like with tarot, the whole aspect of it is a lot of people think that tarot is only uh, well, for the beginning stages of it, right? Yeah, you are learning a lot, but depending on where your beginning stages are, and if a person just thinks your beginning stages is when they met you, okay, I got the superheroes deck out too now, y'all. what it would have been like when they first met you, opposed to when you and when they wouldn't have been recognized, right, for who they are, what it is they do. Now the other part of it that is really given is like when a person gets the understanding of who you are and what it is you do, if they would have already had that presented to them and they would have known that that was something that was a part of you and things of that nature, and what it is to have and deal in any manifestor aspect, how it has to anchor itself, so to speak. Yeah, it doesn't matter what manifestation tool it is. It's the same with a candle wax read, right? Or tea leaves or whatever, what have you, right? Yeah, and whether or not you could read the signs as you were going along. And the signs don't always have to be the manifestation portion of what will come into place from tarot. In some instances, it'll be about the whole past life recognition and how the contract wouldn't have been honored even then. This is where it's kind of, yeah, because I remember I did just to give you guys an example, a while ago when I was over on TikTok. I did a photo shoot, and I had just got a dress, yeah, and a real pretty hair. And I want to say it was like peach. And when you take pictures, yeah, I took pictures and things of that nature to reflect what it is and who it is. Yeah, I wanted to, and how only certain people, yeah, because of what they feel would have been important and imperative. How only some people would have classified an individual as whatever, what have you, right? And then within this whole Ace of Swords and Kings of Cups, the truth of, yeah, the actual doing of love being disappointing. You would okay. Here's the Dark Night of the Soul shit. Yeah, here's the deal that comes into place with the whole Dark Night of the Soul aspect. Yeah, well, how one would get knocked off their high horse. How a person, yeah, get knocked off their high horse. That's that part. The other part of it, okay, yeah, we not gonna worry about that. Yeah, how things would have been swept under the rug, and what it is to sweep something under the rug in regards to what constitutes as a strategy, stealing, or 7 days of the week, right? Whichever one. And a 7 day cycle. 7 day cycle, and the intentions that come with the guidance of how it is one would guide one's thoughts. It's kind of giving that whole puppeting aspect that'll come into place with this, because yeah, because in the whole theft and all this other stuff, right? How a person would want to implant certain things. Oh, okay, that makes more sense now. Huh. No, and when you realize that it's a nest, what goes on in a nest, right? Nest and nesting, and yeah, all right. Within the friendship and intimacy that'll come into place with one's transcendental spiritual truths. Who is and who ain't. It's the whole is you is or is you ain't my baby. It's kind of what that's given. And like I said, the truth of what it is to be nurturing and to act on the love of one being disappointed in friendships. Yeah, how a person just love what this is given. Yeah, is how the only way a person would behave or act in a particular way is if they disappointed, and when it's time for them to shift their emotions, shift and change the emotions of the friendship, with, for some, this is going to be about with God. Others, it's going to be about, you know, how, yeah, how all of the parts don't fit. And if all the parts don't fit, then it constitutes as theft. And that was part of the strategy, so that things wouldn't fit. In short, if it don't fit, don't force it, right? But how a person knew that it wouldn't have fit, but because, yeah, but they forced it to fit anyway. That's that part. The other portion of it, right, that comes into place with it in the superhero aspect. Now, cause one of the things that's kind of given is that whole knife talk, and what it is saying, the truth. In short, the truth behind the matter of when one is outside of one essence, you shift into another. And to know beyond the shadow of a doubt that a person is a friend. Yeah, it's giving a whole friend or foe, right? In the superhero aspect. I just heard they can't expect for you to carry the whole city on your back and then they don't even support you. Well, I agree. I agree in the superhero aspect, especially when you're talking about any superhero, right? Even if it's in the angelic aspect or, yeah, a person being an angel, it's only so much that the physical body can do. I remember sending a text message a long, long time ago about that. And ultimately, it was, the human body can only take so much, and it's always shifting and changing, right? And in short, what it's giving is a whole different cries for help, and how when the superhero, what it would give is when a superhero would ask for help, the only way that the person would jump in is if money is involved, is what that's given. And how one wouldn't have received any gifts. Yeah, in regards to being a superhero, yeah, within, yeah, the lockout of judgment of not being a gift, but what would be incoming, right, would be how a person would be. It would be a gift for just that person. No, and yeah, and nobody else. And then within this whole collection of information, there would be the apology or intimacy. Yeah, and it being and what it is in the norm, or it being a crappy apology. I used to say that in the norm or with talk, right? It being about a crappy ass apology, and the wisdom that comes into place with knowing what an apology is. The other portion of it is about the whole phone portion. Phone. Now, cause what's been coming to me a whole lot is I got two phones, one for the club, yeah, one for the plug and one for the load. Hmm. I was finna say club and sure how you got two phones, one for business and one for work. Basically, is what that boils down to. And what kind of work it is that will be done in regards to waiting. How it is that one would wait, and the ships coming in, knowing that one ship's coming in, the contract calling for a person ships to come in, Yeah, and that being the reason why a person would want to be closer and apologize and all that. And sure, how money can bullshit. Yeah, bullshit. Money talks and bullshit runs marathons. That's what that boils down to. That old saying, money talks and bullshit runs marathons. And how if you look like money, people assume that you already have it, even if you're waiting for even the spiritual relationships to come in, or even if you're waiting for just knowing that is your ships coming in within the collecting of information, and there being this influence of what it is to be apologetic versus being unapologetic, and one not being fruitful within there being the codependence and interdependence in regards to there being not having the enlightenment or happiness and a wish fulfillment. Now, what would come in is within one being fruitful with being single and independent, and one knowing what the wish fulfillment is. Yeah, what is given is what it would have been nurtured in a darker aspect is if you don't ever give a person what it is they ask for, they'll always want you. That's a lie. I don't know who told y'all that backward shit. Yeah, I heard that before a while ago. That's not true. Yeah, and within the contractual agreement, right, not being recognized, when you play those types of games with a contract or with your contract, knowing that be the reason why I personally don't. Yeah, I don't take too kind to the whole twin flame dynamic and people believing that it's supposed to be a whole bunch of pain and explaining the same shit over and over and over again. Ain't nobody got time to keep explaining stuff to people every 5 minutes just because this person didn't get it right, right? I heard they better pay attention the first time. Yeah, you are supposed to pay attention the first time. That's the reason why with the whole twin flame dynamic and it being a part of quote unquote entertainment, that yeah, that's where a lot of people mess up because there's nothing entertaining about being heartbroken and disappointed every 5 minutes or all the time, and your shifts never come in, and whether it's the shifts of meaning the relationships of those individuals that you have the spiritual contract with, or even the settling the old debts and all that other stuff. Ensure making sure you pay attention to who settled what debt and how they settled it. That's what that's gonna be in regards to, okay? Now, last but not least, the other thing it is I'm seeing on a higher vibrational or not higher vibrational in another aspect, right? In the life of mathematics, it wouldn't be about the arm, but it'll be about the heart and what goes on in that Leo essence. And when the poles shifted, what it is that took place, especially when you're talking about Saturn. And then in Saturn respect, the ensure how karma wouldn't have been recognized within the truth of things. No one would have tripped off of the karma that they would have been incurring within there being truth. Yeah, when the truth gets measured, weighted and measured. So it's that. The other portion of it is gonna be what takes place with huh, yeah, when like cause in the angel card, right, and the lovers card, right? Yeah, the difference between lust and love is what is given. And the truth of it not being love. But this other portion of it is in the spirit of one not loving this offer that would have been presented within one not having a passion new beginning. In short, it's one of those I gotta have this in order for me to get this. That's part of that young adult aspect, and also even with the army, what is given, how the army and navy and how they collaborate and link up by land, water, air, but not by air. I'm sure how one wouldn't have been paying attention to what would have been going on in the earth. And when within this, right, with Venus retrograde and the sun being retrograde at the same time, different seeds it is that would have been planted. Yeah, one of the other things was one of the older ladies, she said she handed me a plant, a basil plant. And she said, now you make sure you take care of my baby. Now the irony that came into place with her, I've had plants before, but the reason why I wasn't able to take care of them before now wasn't because I didn't have a green thumb. It was because, yeah, it was so many different, or not so many different, it was the jealousies that came into place with me being able to just be comfortable and just speak my mind at the time that I had the plans. Yeah, how people don't expect for you to be able to do what it is you need to do. And this would have been highlighted the codependence. For some, it's going to be codependence, meaning children. Others, it's going to be codependence, meaning, different addictions that they would have had. Others, it's going to be about interdependence, right? When the interdependence that comes into place with partnerships, right? Yeah, in a contract, in a partnership, both parties get paid, or everybody get paid. Yeah, and what it is that would have taken place with, yeah, how different relationships, it's not even necessarily about the whole pay to play. It's more so given the matter of abuse that would have come, sexual abuse that would have come into place with the on a spiritual level in the contract, and how it would have been thought that, yeah, whatever, whatever, yeah. So knowing that portion, the other part of this is when one with Venus being retrograde 9 years ago, and one not being enlightened of how one wouldn't have been fulfilled, the wishes being fulfilled, and with one not being pregnant. That's another thing that's kind of coming up. And last but not least, what goes on with in September. And Venus going retrograde in September 9 years ago would have taken care of it. What it's giving is how a person would try to control what already would have been taken care of. But because they didn't control it, they feel like it wasn't taken care of. That's not, you know, typically a good idea to have. So, finish closing thoughts, right? Within the whole false person, sorry, within the whole aspect of waiting for relationships to come in and being a false person, there being the aspect of, concern and information with regard to the truth of the doing of love. Don't necessarily have to be a man, don't necessarily have to be a woman, but in the doing of love and in the feeling of love. The contract doesn't, it requires for one to feel emotion. It's basically you feel it, so you do it. And then there being the theft it is that comes with the relationships. Yeah, and how the easiest way to fix things like that would be to just get, or not, yeah, to pass it along. And how a person would have been expecting for the relationship to pass to each individual, distributed, yeah, the distribution, equal and even distributions. And when one person doesn't get theirs, it pretty much it stagnates the essence, and it builds a lot of distrust. Ultimately, is what this is coming into place. And even in the whole false person, what is given is like the whole method acting aspect that are coming into place, and how it wouldn't be a mask that would come, but it would be the whole how the fan would cover the words. So this will be about covers and covered, and what it is to be covered. Yeah, it's one of those. Yeah, it's one of those. If you do this, I got you covered, type situation. The other thing, yeah, and when what it is that will happen with it being there being an abundance of false people or the wrong people, being a whole lot of it being the wrong people, right? All right. So, as a summarization, really pay attention to what your ambitions are and how they correlate with whether or not it's a loving atmosphere and how love can be made, or not only love can be made, but you can find love in any situation if you allow for yourself to open up to it. All right. All right. So hopefully that helps you guys out a little bit. I'm going to seal and close this reading, so that this energy is just stuck for her. Hopefully it'll help you out with whenever you come across it, even with the varying uh, situations that will come into place with karma, and the karma that comes with one realistically not loving a person, but it being about the jealousy it is that they would have had and held toward an individual, and toward an individual getting, even being able to get an offer. All right. All right. So light and love to y'all. Okay, we're gonna close and seal this reading. I am gonna share with you guys the light and love, right, portion. Uh, because see, remember, light work. It ain't light work. It is not light work. It's not light work. All right. And that's why you have to stay light while you work.